If you think this is a shock collar, think again. Here to bust a few myths about electronic collar training is Elena Miller, owner of Dogs Unleashed Canine Training. Elena, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So if this, which looks very much like a shock collar to me, is not a shock collar, what is it?
It's called an e-collar, or electronic collar, or a remote collar.
What is the difference between this and a shock collar, if it's not a shock collar?
Well, we don't call them shock collars anymore.
Okay.
Way back when it was first invented, yes, you could shock the dog, it could hurt the dog, but now the technology has come leaps and bounds, so it has tons of different levels. This specific model has 127 different levels.
Wow.
So you want to use it at the lowest level possible that the dog can feel it.
Okay.
And it's not
a myth has been that these are basically torture devices.
Right. Any tool can be used improperly.
Okay.
So the idea is just educating people on how to use it properly and going from there. It's a great tool, especially for off-leash obedience.
Okay.
It's just a great communication device. Every time you put a leash on, that's a communication device. This is just another communication device.
So if it's not a shock, per se, that the dog is feeling when this thing goes off, what are they feeling?
It's called a blunt stimulation.
Okay.
It's an equivalent of a TENS unit that people would use. It's a muscle contraction.
Okay.
You know, at very low levels, it's just, I mean, would you like to feel it?
I'm going to try this out, and we're going to see what this actually feels like, because you do, when you train with your clients, you make sure they know what this feels like before they use it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so where do I hold it?
So you're just going to put it on the palm of your hand.
Okay.
And then just close your hand.
I'm scared.
Don't be. I promise.
Okay.
So like I said, it has 127 different levels. So I'm going to start from 1 and go up, and you just tell me when you feel it.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it going? Oh.
You feel it?
Oh yeah. It's like a little tingle.
Yeah. So that's at level 15.
Oh, okay.
Out of 127.
That's barely anything. It just kind of like, it's almost like having a twitch.
Yep.
Like it like makes your hand twitch.
Yep.
Okay,
and,
yeah, I wouldn't call that a shock collar at all.
Right. And a lot of times the dogs, they feel it less, you know, sooner than us.
Okay.
So you usually don't have to go above double digits with the dogs.
So obviously your dog couldn't be burned by something like this, but it can create pressure points.
For a long period of time, like if people have it on all day long and they don't move it, the points can create pressure points. So we just say if you just move it every couple hours to each side of the neck, and you also have to make sure it's on tight enough, because if it's on too loose and it can irritate, the metal can irritate. So it depends on the dog as well. So, you know, with Blue here, he's got a little bit longer of hair. For some of the dogs that have like really short hair, like pointers or hounds, you know, they have more sensitive skin. Okay. So they have different contact points. Some of them have plastic contact points for dogs that are sensitive to metal. So it just depends on the dog. And this is a unit for big dogs. Obviously, you wouldn't use this on a small dog. Right. But they do have units that go down to 5 pounds.
It's a me-sized dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you say that this is a positive or a negative training technique?
It depends on how you use it. You can use it for both. You can pair it with food, and every time the dog feels the tingle, you can give them a treat. That's called conditioning, and then all they get is a positive association with the collar.
Right.
Obviously, you can use it as a correction, but you still don't want to go super high, and you're not just gonna put it on the dog and then zap them. They're not gonna know what that means. Everything starts with just basic obedience with just the leash and collar, and then we layer the e-collar on top of that.
So you're a big fan of this through your training. If somebody at home is like, maybe that might help my dog, do they just go out and buy one? How do they go about getting started?
Hire a trainer. Hire a trainer. And that's with any tool. Like I said, they can all be used improperly. So you want to make sure that you find a trainer that knows how to use it. If they call it a shock collar, don't go to them, because they don't know what they're talking about. Like I said, it's not a shock collar. So you just do your research and make sure you find an appropriate trainer that is familiar with e-collars. You got to make sure that the brand is also good,
because you want to go for quality.
Yeah, you can get some on Amazon for very cheap, and I would not go for those.
What is your price range?
These range from anywhere from, I think, around 150 and up. Usually this average, I think, is around a little over 200.
And then is this something that you train your dog with and then you take it off and you never use it again, or do you leave it on all the time?
The idea is eventually you won't need it. I mean, Blue here is trained on an e-collar, but you're holding it, so he's not needing it.
Right.
You know, and that's the idea, is you want them to listen without it as well, but it's just a tool.
And I want to point out too, you mentioned something interesting to me, that search and rescue crews actually use these to train their dogs, and they use them as like directional indicators.
Yeah, and police officers use them. But yeah, with the search and rescue, you can use it like when they can't see the trainer or the handler or hear them.
Right.
You can just use this and press the button. So 1 means go left or 2 means go right.
Yeah.
That way the dog can have direction, and you know, you can be, this I think goes up to 3/4 of a mile or something like that.
And maybe senior dogs too, you know, we're just a dog who's deaf or hard of hearing.
It's great for deaf dogs. They gain a lot of, you know, some people say that it's not good for fearful dogs or aggressive dogs, and that's the complete opposite. If you train them correctly using it and you teach them what it means, and like I said, if they have a positive association, it's just a form of communication, and it actually a lot of times will help fearful dogs or deaf dogs especially. It's great, and aggressive dogs as well. So it's a great tool. Yeah.
So don't be afraid of the e-collar.
Right.
Great training tool. Elena Miller, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
If you'd like to get in touch with Elena at Dogs Unleashed Canine Training, you can give her a call, visit her website, or message her through Facebook.